Before I start, I keep on forgetting to post this. These terrorists work with lasers, and one of the favorite things to do, I have video, is antagonize, torture your animals with a 785 nanometers laser. This is right out of our scope of vision, 780 nanometers, but not our beloved pets. If you are being tortured with a lot of the same symptoms I am describing and you see your pet start to look at things that aren't there, get your phone out and start filming it. The laser will show up on camera. It is within the camera's visual scope. GPS generator, simulator, rubidium atomic clock generator, frequency comb generator, area semi-mobile generators which emulate our GPS satellite system, both able to produce V2K voice to skull, DEW. Direct energy weapon, and nonlinear quantum optics, audio, video surveillance, and more. The mobile weapon is made by connecting the frequency comb generator, rubidium atomic clock generator, and GPS generator. The GPS and frequency comb make a phase-locked loop which is filled with rubidium vapor provided by rubidium atomic clock generator. Now two diode lasers pass buffer. This is called electronically induced transparency. RR contain a loop lock of rubidium vapor, exciting the rubidium atoms. When infrared light hits the rubidium, this is a diode signal laser being introduced. The atoms then emit a visible red light that can be picked up with lenses, or encoded onto a probe laser 1550 nanometers and turned into a digital image, C-band, and sent out on a dish. Home surveillance on private citizens. This is being done to me and my family just a couple of miles away from Coachella. Now I want to get more in depth with how this weapon, but first I want to share that all three of these generators, GPS, rubidium, and frequency comb, generator radiation, and yes, it is non-ionizing radiation, but prolonged exposure to non-ionizing is the same if not worse than ionizing radiation. Abstract. With the rapid development of electronic technologies, anxiety regarding the potential health hazards induced by microwave radiation (MW) has been growing in recent years. The brain is one of the most sensitive target organs for microwave radiation, where mitochondrial injury occurs earlier and more severely than in other organs. Energy metabolism disorders play an important role during the process of microwave radiation-induced brain damage. In this paper, we will review the biological effects of microwave radiation, the features of brain energy supply and consumption, and the effects of microwave radiation on mitochondrial energy metabolism and potential related mechanisms. Keywords: microwave radiation, brain energy metabolism, mitochondria, mechanisms. Introduction. Microwaves (MW), electromagnetic waves with frequencies ranging from 300 MHz to 300 GHz, have been widely used in the telecommunications, agriculture, transportation, medical and military fields. The popularization of mobile phones, computers, household appliances and other electronic equipment has made learning, working and accessing entertainment much more convenient. With the intensive development of various advanced military weaponry equipment, such as early warning aircraft, electronic jammers and new radar, soldiers are always exposed to intricate environmental factors, including intensive and complex MW radiation. As the fourth largest source of pollution after air, water and noise, MW radiation induces many biological effects. The brain is the most sensitive target organ for MW radiation, where mitochondrial injury occurs earlier and more severely than in other organs. Studies on the effects of MW radiation on brain energy metabolism have aroused great concern. Go to Review. Biological effects of MW radiation. The biological effects of MW radiation fall into two types, thermal and non-thermal effects. Both are present, with thermal effects prominent in the case of high-power and high-frequency MW radiation and non-thermal effects predominant in the case of low-power MW radiation. MW radiation has multifaceted effects on many systems within an organism, including the nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, immune, reproductive, and
So does this mean when I get burns on my back, that's like thermal? Yeah, I'm being a smart aleck. Sorry, I shouldn't be.
hematopoietic systems. The brain always requires a high rate of oxygen and energy consumption to maintain regular functions. Therefore, this organ is sensitive to non-infectious stimuli such as ionizing radiation and hypoxia. Research from our group and from others has demonstrated that microwave radiation damages hippocampal structures in rats, impairs long-term potentiation, decreases neurotransmitter concentrations, reduces synaptic vesicles in number, and results in memory impairment. Thus, the brain is generally accepted as the most sensitive target organ for MW radiation. The damaging effects of MW radiation on the brain include brain dysfunction and brain structural damage. An epidemiological survey found that MW radiation caused human fatigue, headache, excitement, dreams, memory loss, and other symptoms of neurasthenia. In addition, there were impaired learning and memory abilities in rats after MW radiation, as determined by the Morris-Water maze. MW radiation may also lead to neuronal shrinkage, nuclear condensation, mitochondrial swelling, an expanded endoplasmic reticulum, alterations to the synaptic gaps, and widened vascular endothelial connections, where mitochondrial injury occurred earlier and more severely. Features of brain energy metabolism in the human body. The brain has the greatest demand for oxygen and is susceptible to disturbances in energy metabolism, which is determined by its high metabolic rate, high oxygen consumption, and low energy reserves. Mitochondria are the key sites of oxidative phosphorylation (OXPHOS) and the synthesis of adenosine triphosphate (ATP). The redox enzymes and the coenzymes involved in the respiratory chain lie in the mitochondrial inner membrane in close proximity. Electrons passing through the respiratory chain drive protons from the matrix side to the cytoplasmic side across the mitochondrial inner membrane. When protons reflux along the concentration gradient, the energy released is used by ATP synthase to catalyze ATP synthesis. In addition to energy conversion, mitochondria also play other important roles, such as in the regulation of apoptosis and Ca2+ storage. Mitochondria are not only the starting point of many signal transduction pathways but also the target. Effects of MW radiation on mitochondrial energy metabolism. MW radiation is detrimental to brain energy metabolism. Intrinsically, neurons are extremely sensitive to a reduced ATP availability. As the main source of energy, mitochondria are prone to MW radiation-induced injury. Wang et al. 26 exposed monkeys to MW radiation with average power densities of 5 mW per square centimeter and 11 mW per square centimeter for 10S and 4.68 I1/4 W per square centimeter for 12H D for 30D cumulatively. Abnormalities in mitochondrial function-related metabolites in urine, such as succinic acid, citric acid, and 2-keto-glutaric acid, were induced after a single radiation event of 5 mW per square centimeter and 11 mW per square centimeter, and after a long-term radiation of 4.68 I1/4 W per square centimeter, revealing by metabolomics the hypersensitivity of mitochondria to MW radiation. Effects of MW radiation on mitochondrial structure. MW radiation leads to mitochondrial structural damage, primarily observed as mitochondrial swelling and cavitation and disorganized, broken, and sparse cristae. To some extent, MW radiation affects mitochondria structurally in a dose-dependent manner. Zhao et al. 5 exposed male Wistar rats to MW radiation with average power densities of 2.5, 5 and 10 mW per square centimeter, with the specific absorption rates, SAR, of 1.05, 2.1 and 4.2 with kilogram, respectively, for 6 minutes, D for 30D. In the hippocampus of the MW-exposed rats, the mitochondria were swollen and vacuolized, and the cristae were disordered and fewer in number. In addition, these ultrastructural changes in the mitochondria tended to be more severe relative to the increasing SAR. Xie et al. 27 exposed male Wistar rats to MW radiation for 1H at average power densities of 3 and 30 mW per square centimeter, respectively. No significant changes occurred in the mitochondria of the hippocampus or cerebral cortex in the 3 milliwatts per square centimeter group, while the mitochondria in the 30 milliwatts per square centimeter group did become damaged. These results suggest that, within a certain range, the degree of mitochondrial structural damage positively correlates with the dose of MW radiation. MW radiation damaging mitochondrial structures obeys a time-response relationship. XEAL 27 exposed male Wistar rats to MW radiation, 30 milliwatts per square centimeter, duration 1H. Immediately after radiation, the mitochondrial ultrastructure showed a slight disturbance in the rat hippocampus and cerebral cortex. 3H after radiation, the visible swelling of the mitochondria increased significantly and cristae became disorganized, broken and sparse. 24 hours after radiation, mitochondrial degeneration was observed, demonstrated by myelin-like structures and occasional dense deposits in the mitochondria. In short, ultrastructural changes in the rat brain mitochondria were induced within 24 hours of the post-30 milliwatt per square centimeter MW radiation exposure. Long-term and low-dose cumulative MW radiation leads to significant damage in mitochondria. Dong al. 21 exposed SD rats to MW radiation, 4.68 I1/4 W per square centimeter, 12H d, duration 30D, which resulted in similar structural changes, such as swelling and cavitation in the mitochondria of the radiation-exposed rat hippocampus and cerebral cortex. Effects of MW radiation on mitochondrial energy metabolism. Reduced ATP content as A. Now a full explanation of what this device does. Generators. 1. GPS generator, simulator, spoof GPS or https://www.coonline.com/article/3393462/what-is-gps-spoofing-and-how-you-can-defend-against-it.html. This provides the terrorists control of the GPS bubble. Radio frequency can be attached to L1 1575.42 MHz and ORL2 1227.60 MHz, A code 1.023 MHz and or Y code A combined with 2. Frequency comb generator. This will provide a phase-locked loop. This will make a CONTIO LED dome of radio frequencies, frequency and microwave radiation. This will be very important. This is the culprit for the crickets heard by our American diplomats in China, Russia, and the Middle East. Here is a video showing how the noise is made. https://u2.be/g6pal9yjpatientic. Now let's get to the scary one. Quantum optics. 3. Rubidium atomic clock, A, which gives the terrorists our car a wheel. BASICLY. It provides standard frequency time signal which provides control of movement for all of this. Rubidium is a silver metal which is highly volatile with water. This metal is heated and atoms are infused into the phase-locked loop created by the GPS and frequency comb generators. Now the frequency comb generator provides 3 very important diode lasers. 1. Diode coupling laser. 2. Diode probe laser. 3. Diode signal laser. What these do is: the coupling and probe laser freeze DOOPLER cooler electromagnetically induced transparency of the rubidium atoms to make everything in the dome a BASICLY silver roll of film. Rydberg atoms, photons and atoms. The Rydberg formula is a mathematical formula used to predict the wavelength of light resulting from an electron moving between energy levels of an atom. When an electron changes from one atomic orbital to another, the electron's energy changes. This happens when quantum optics rely on Rydberg atoms, which are atoms of elements such as cesium and rubidium that have had their outer electrons coaxed into much higher quantum states than normal matter, using either laser light at exactly the right wavelength or other electromagnetic methods. The electrons are so far from the nucleus in Rydberg atoms that they are barely held in orbit. The orbits are nearly circular, and the atom approaches macroscopic size. Because of the highly excited outer electrons, Rydberg atoms have interesting and useful properties. The spacing between electron levels that far out from the nucleus is extremely narrow, making it very easy to perturb electrons and make them change states. If, say, a passing radio wave hits a Rydberg atom, its outer electrons can be nudged to another level. What as more, Rydberg atoms show the nonlinear optical property of for electromagnetically induced transparency, or EIT. That means that a laser tuned to a specific frequency can saturate a gas of Rydberg atoms, rendering them optically transparent in a narrow slice of the spectrum. A second laser tuned to that optical window will shine right through the gas with little loss of intensity, works almost the same for audio but that involves using one of the ingested radio frequencies from the GPSL1 1575.42 MHz ORL2 1227.60 MHz and creating radio frequencies over fiber, fiber being laser probe 1550 nanometers, a radio over fiber, RF or RF over fiber, RFOF refers to a technology whereby light is modulated by a radio frequency signal and transmitted over an optical fiber link. Main technical advantages of using fiber optical links are lower transmission losses and reduced sensitivity to noise and electromagnetic interference compared to all electrical signal transmission, electromagnetic cavity for rubidium atomsa. A waveguide frequency converter connecting rubidium-based quantum memories to the telecom C-band. I1/4. A cold cloud over 87 Rb atoms confined in a GPS with rubidium atoms, magneto-optical trap MOTL1 1575.42 MHz from GPS, serves as quantum memory for light. Inelastic scattering of a classical right pulse results in the emission of a Stokes photon, which heralds the presence of a collective spin excitation. A subsequent Reed pulse maps the atomic state onto an anti-Stokes photon. The retrieved light is sent to a PPLN waveguide, together with a strong pump at 1569 nanometer. The 780 nanometer photons are converted to 1552 nanometer by DFG. After conversion, residual pump light is blocked by means of a bandpass filter BF. The converted light is then coupled in a single-mode optical fiber. A fiber Bragg grating filters out the broadband noise generated by the pump. The non-classical nature of the storage, retrieval and conversion processes is probed by measuring the cross-correlation between Stokes and unconverted anti-Stokes photons B-level scheme used for the DLCZ memory. The right pulse off resonantly couples the ground state GA to the excited level EA. A Stokes photon is emitted with probability of P, thus creating a single collective excitation to the storage state SA. During the retrieval process, a pulse resonant with the SAA-EA transition, red beam, collectively transfers back the atom to the initial state GA while emitting an anti-Stokes single photon in a well-defined spatiotemporal mode. This encodes the probe laser, which is 1550 nanometers, which is a SAM-AC band 1550 nanometers TIAMISSION satellite transmission. Equals remote, wireless, nonlinear, INOIPATIVEA, surveillance. All of this can be checked. All of it we are being tortured. Now to some of those weapons. Voice to skull. Voice to skull devices. Definition, scope. Non-lethal weapon which includes 1. A neuroelectromagnetic device which uses microwave transmission of sound into the skull of persons or animals by way of pulse-modulated microwave radiation, and 2. A silent sound device which can transmit sound into the skull of person or animals. Note, the sound modulation may be voice or audio subliminal messages. One application of B2K is used as an electronic scarecrow to frighten birds in the vicinity of airports. The target is surrounded by spoofed GPS sonic health attack. At this point I am going to call it just at spoofed GPS. The dome is made of radio frequencies, microwave radiation, electromagnetic waves and more, but I want to pay attention to the radio frequency and the microwave radiation. When a person is in this dome of radiation for a while they get what is called microwave auditory effect hearing. This is when the brain swells and the target is able to hear radio frequencies. The target begins to hear buzzing noises. Now here comes the crazy part: when the terrorists ingest radio frequencies into L1, C code and or L2, Y code, they can dial these frequencies up in an SDR from the computer, talk into a mic. Puff voice to skull works both way. In other radio frequencies dial it in puff instant audio surveillance. Geodirectional energy weapon. A laser introduced from outside the spoof GPS dome creates a maser. Laser enters spoof GPS dome. Excited photons are the photons that the Lacera and Amacera emit are the result of an electron being excited at a higher energy level. The photons emitted either have high energy and frequency and short wavelengths, laser, or low energy and frequency and longer wavelength, maser. Now we know why targeted individuals complain of burns with no marks. Masses heat the water in the skin, making it feel like a really bad burn with little to no evidence. My family and I know this all too well. We have been tortured for almost a decade. Department of the Army, United States Army Intelligence and Security Command, Freedom of Information, Privacy Office, Investigative Records Repository, Case 614F06. Microwave hearing is a phenomenon, described by human observers. Buzzing, ticking, hissing, knocking sounds that originate as it could also be used to communicate with hostages or hostage takers directly by other Morse code message systems, by voice communication.